Hey, what's up everyone? Bass here. So with roster cut day officially underway, in this video I quickly wanted to go over the cuts that have happened so far for the Green Bay Packers. Now, all the cuts have not happened yet, but I just want to go over all the ones that have so far, as there are some surprising ones on this list. And then of course, when the official 53-man roster comes out today, I will also release a video breaking that down as well. So there have been 16 cuts so far, and there are 9 more cuts to be made. So let's quickly go over the 16 cuts so far. All right, so let's bring up the list and I'll go down one by one. At the top, we have quarterback Danny Etling. The Packers have cut. This was no surprise. We knew the Packers were going to go into the season with 2 quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. The next 2 players on this list include one surprise. That's running back Dexter Williams and running back Tyler Goodson. If you follow this channel, you know this will obviously upset me. I had Tyler Goodson making this 53-man roster, so this is the first one that I did get wrong. The Packers have not cut Patrick Taylor yet. That doesn't mean that can't happen. They could definitely go into the year with just 2 running backs and have Amari Rodgers as that third guy until Kylan Hill comes back. But them keeping Patrick Taylor, it does make some sense. The dude can pass block well. He has played special teams in the past years, so it makes sense there. He has more experience. I just really liked the upside of Tyler Goodson, the versatility. He looked like a really nice one-cut back that could complement A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones if need be. I fully expect them to sign him back to the practice squad if he does indeed clear waivers. This does upset me, though, because I really like Tyler Goodson. I feel like he did enough to make this 53-man roster. I don't know what else more he could have done. And the Packers, like I said, could very well go into this season, this initial 53-man roster, with just 2 running backs. The way the practice squad is made nowadays in the NFL, where you can call players up on game day, they don't really need to have more than 2 running backs on this initial 53-man roster. Now, come week 1, if they only have 2, they're likely going to call one up from the practice squad anyways, and it might even be Tyler Goodson at that point, but we'll see exactly how that goes down. Just a little upsetting to me that he didn't make the initial 53, because I think he deserved it. And then the next 2, we have tight ends cut so far. We have Sal Cannella and Elise Mack have been cut so far. Neither really wowed me in any terms. I liked Sal Cannella a little bit better than Elise Mack. I think he would be the choice to go onto the practice squad out of these 2, and that leaves Tyler Davis and Nate Becker as the 2 remaining tight ends on the roster. I would assume Nate Becker will be one of the cuts, and like I said in yesterday's video, I assume they'll keep Tyler Davis, and I know not a lot of people want to hear that, but he brings special teams value, and as a 4th tight end, that's kind of all you need. You don't expect them to go on offense as much unless, a couple injuries happen, which we hope doesn't happen anyways. I think Robert Tonyan will be ready to go week 1, so 4th tight end isn't that important for offense, so you kind of have a guy that, could contribute on special teams, and that is Tyler Davis. Hey, they could even keep Nate Becker over Tyler Davis. We'll see exactly what happens. My guess is on Tyler Davis, but the cuts of Sal Cannella and Elise Mack make sense here. As for wide receiver, another 2 cuts, Juwan Winfree and Ishmael Hyman. Now, Juwan Winfree to most would be a surprise. I left him off my initial 53-man roster in my video yesterday. A lot of people wanted to keep him on, and my reasoning was I think I want to have Samori Toure on the roster over him just based off upside and potential. I think if you cut Samori Toure and subject him to waivers, a team might claim him. And I had the argument yesterday that the counter argument to that is every team has a Samori Toure, a 7th-round rookie that they're really high on. So not a lot of players that, get waived on the 53-day get claimed. It's a very, very low percent, but it could still happen. And I think with how the roster's built nowadays, you try to keep the players you are in fear of losing on your 53-man roster. And I think Juwan Winfree won't get claimed, and he'll go to the practice squad, and obviously could get called up on game day depending on injuries or whatever may happen. So I think Juwan Winfree will be on the practice squad. I think Ishmael Hyman also may be on the practice squad. They haven't cut Travis Fulgham yet. I fully expect them to do so. But this is no real surprise to me, but I know it is a surprise to a lot of people. They have also decided to cut 3 defensive linemen, Akil Byers, Jack Heflin, and Chris Slayton. So the one they haven't cut yet is John Ford, their 7th-round rookie. Jack Heflin, a surprise here. I think him, Heflin and Slayton were the 2 best out of these 4 guys if you include John Ford in this. So it looks like they're likely just going to go with 5 defensive linemen. If they go 6, it's going to be John Ford. I just don't see that happening. I think he was the lowest graded player via PFF on the Packers this entire preseason. I thought if they're going to keep 6 defensive linemen, it was definitely going to be one of Heflin or Slayton. I really hope Heflin clears waivers, gets back on the practice squad. I really like him. And Chris Slayton, like I said, had a wonderful preseason. Akil Byers was hurt a lot of it, so not much we saw from him. But hopefully Chris Slayton or Jack Heflin can return back to the practice squad with John Ford if they do decide to cut Ford as well. As for edge, we got our first edge cut. It took a while to happen, but Ladarius Hamilton was the first edge rusher to be cut. So that leaves Kobe Jones, John Garvin, and thta. I don't expect them to keep all three of those because they already have Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, and Kingsley Enagbare, I think, are the locks. The remainder guys, kind of still a toss-up. We'll see if they keep 4, they keep 5. I think thta is definitely making the roster, in my opinion. I do not expect him to be cut. But after that, will it be Kobe Jones or John Garvin? My best guess is on John Garvin if they do decide to keep 5. But Ladarius Hamilton, I mean, he had some number 1 reps during camp. All these guys had number 1 reps. I feel like a lot of these edge guys, these back-end roster edge guys had some great days, and then they kind of all fizzled out. So it's really a toss-up. This is the most confusing position, in my opinion, on who the Packers were going to keep in the 53. I went with thta and John Garvin to add on to Enagbare, Gary, and Preston Smith, which very well may happen because Ladarius Hamilton is now cut. As for cornerback, it looks like they decided to cut 3, so it looks like they're keeping 5 cornerbacks on this initial 53-man roster. They have cut KB Nento, Keandre Thomas, and Rico Gafford. In my video yesterday, I thought they were going to keep Rico Gafford as a 6th cornerback for special teams value, as a gunner, as a returner. A lot of people thought, hey, they're going to keep Keandre Thomas. He had a better preseason, which I agree on defense, but you usually don't use a 6th cornerback on defense unless multiple injuries happen. But they decided to cut all 3 of these corners. I would expect Rico Gafford and Keandre Thomas to come back on this practice squad for sure. Really liked what I saw from Keandre Thomas. Rico Gafford, a very speedy cornerback, can return the ball, can be a gunner, can definitely get called up on game day to participate in special teams. But it looks like they're going with 5 cornerbacks to start the year, and it's a very solid group of 5. Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, Rasul Douglas, Shamar Jean-Charles, and Kayshawn Nixon. Now, that depth might be a little bit in question if you suffer an injury, but there's a plethora of free agents, and you could also, call up someone like Keandre Thomas if that indeed does happen. So right now, I'm okay with the 5. I think Matt LaFleur's kept 6 all the past 3 years, so a little bit of a surprise here, but like I said, with the way the roster's built, they don't have to keep as many at a certain position as they usually would. And the last 2 cuts at safety, Devontae Cross and Sean Davis. The last surprise here definitely being Sean Davis. I fully expected him to be safety number 3, and I've heard it's not because of a skill issue why he was cut. He suffered a knee injury, I think, this week. So really unfortunate for Sean Davis. The dude was healthy all of training camp. The only guy that's been here the whole time in terms of depth safeties and stayed healthy was Sean Davis, and he suffers an injury as well. I mean, the Packers safety room has been completely banged up. There's a few safeties around the league that have been cut so far, like Anthony Harris on the Vikings, that I think the Packers should definitely go after. This safety depth is just really bad right now. Devontae Cross also being cut. So the guys that are left are Ennis Gaines, Micah Abernathy, and Donald Levitt. So Abernathy could very well make this roster, but I don't think the initial 53 for safety is going to be what we see week 1. I think there's going to be a signing or a trade or something of that sort. I do not like the depth in this safety room. I think it's very suffering, and now especially Sean Davis is gone. Sean Davis had the most snaps out of all safeties this preseason, so a lot of, and Vernon Scott was number 2, who they already cut. So a lot of wasted snaps this preseason for guys that aren't going to be on their 53. I think they need to address this, but really a shock here to see Sean Davis cut. And as I was just about to end this video, I checked Twitter and saw Ennis Gaines' safety was also cut. So weird timing there that his safety was cut right after I just got done talking about them. And that just further backs my point. This position needs to be addressed. There's very little depth in this safety room. Outside of Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos, it's a very, very big question mark. I think it will be addressed, like I said, with a free agent or a trade, but we'll see what happens. So with all those cuts, I think 17 of them, that leaves 8 remaining. And like I said, as those cuts happen and the official 53-man roster is released, I will also make a video breaking down the official roster. But so far, the only surprises on the cuts as of now, Tyler Goodson, I'll say Juwan Winfrey and Sean Davis. I'd say those 3 are the biggest wows right now. I expected 2 of those guys to be on the roster. I didn't expect Juwan Winfrey, but I know a lot of people did. But we'll see what the remaining cuts, 8 cuts, are in the next couple of hours. But that about does it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please leave a like down below if you did. But I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.